everyone! Based on the Instagram poll that I posted a month ago, a lot of you seem to be really curious about what defense mechanisms are. Today I'll be talking about defense mechanisms, explaining what they are and why we have them. Before I get into the topic, I'm Iris and I release a new video every Thursday. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to watch all my videos. I'm sure you guys have come across these situations before. When someone found out that a loved one has a terminal illness and they continue to act as though the loved one is going to live. Or when someone gets yelled at by their boss and then takes out their frustrations on an undeserving friend. These are two examples of defense mechanisms. The definition of a defense mechanism is an unconscious psychological response that we use to protect ourselves from unpleasant feelings like anxiety. When we feel threatened or when we don't want to think about something and deal with it, we may cope with difficult things by using what we refer to as defense mechanisms. They basically serve as an aid for us to keep us happy, because they prevent us from dealing with anything that has the potential to become upsetting. But if we use them too often, it's actually quite harmful for us. It impedes our ability to resolve our internal conflicts and keeps us stuck in a negative cycle instead of living happier and more authentic lives. Well then, how do you stop your own defense mechanism from becoming a bigger problem? The first step is to pinpoint which one you're relying on. Research shows that there are a ton of defense mechanisms out there, but today I want to talk about 5 common ones that we use. The first defense mechanism is denial. This is probably the most common out of all. It's used often to describe situations in which people seem unable to face reality or denying an obvious truth. All of us have been in denial at some point in our lives, whether it be denying the fact that you got broken up with, unable to face the death of a loved one, or refusing to acknowledge that you have a drinking problem when you have an alcohol addiction. Being in denial may buy you some time and may lessen the impact of trauma at the beginning, but over time, avoiding reality and refusing to admit that there is a problem won't do you any good. The second most common defense mechanism is displacement. I would say this defense mechanism is the one I use the most out of all of them. Have you had a really bad day at work and then gone home and took out your frustration of family, friends, or maybe your dog? Then you definitely have used this defense mechanism before. Displacement occurs when we redirect an impulse, usually aggression, on people or objects that are less threatening. Let's use the example from before. Sure, displacement can be good for us because we're not venting at our boss, who's the true target. But instead, we're taking it out on someone or something other than the original target. That means we're not facing the actual problem, and we might end up hurting innocent people. The third most common defense mechanism is rationalization. I'm sure you guys have heard of this one. It's pretty much a blame game. With this defense mechanism, you're trying to explain an unacceptable behavior or feeling in a rational or logical manner, avoiding the true reasons for the behavior. This pretty much means you're coming up with a bunch of facts that explain why a situation is played out a certain way. For example, a person who got turned down for a date might rationalize the situation by saying they weren't even attracted to the other person anyway. Or when a parent punishes a child and says that it's for the child's own good. Rationalization allows us to avoid responsibility. So when we're confronted with success or failure, people tend to attribute achievement to their own qualities and skills and blame others or outside forces for their own failures. The fourth most common defense mechanism is projection. I'm sure you guys hear this term a lot, when someone is projecting their feelings onto another person. Projection is when you unconsciously assign your own thoughts and emotions to others. People use this defense mechanism because projecting something you don't like about yourself onto someone else protects you from having to acknowledge parts of yourself that you don't like. Basically, as humans, we tend to feel more comfortable seeing negative qualities in others rather than in ourselves. Let me give you an example. Maybe you're cheating on your partner, but you're accusing them of being unfaithful to you. In this case, you're projecting your fear and shame towards your partner, and it's actually a reflection of the way you feel about yourself. Another example is when a mother pressures her child to become a doctor when she hasn't been able to achieve her own goals in life. Projection may relieve negative feelings about ourselves, but we're actually avoiding things about ourselves that we should change. The last common defense mechanism, the fifth one I'm going to talk about today, is reaction formation. With this defense mechanism, you're behaving or expressing the opposite of your true feelings. I'm sure you guys have experienced something similar. Sometimes if there's someone that I dislike, I might treat them really nicely or be really friendly to them in order to hide my true feelings. Another example is when a teenager is bullying the girl he's attracted to at school. So why do we use this defense mechanism? Well, reaction formation can protect us from consequences of our true feelings. So that's why we express the opposite of what we feel. And those are the 5 common defense mechanisms for today. The bottom line is, while all of the defense mechanisms that I mentioned can be unhealthy, they can also be adaptive and allow us to function normally, if used in moderation. However, we can't continue to avoid dealing with problems by overusing defense mechanisms and think that everything is going to be okay. That's why it's important for us to pay attention to which defense mechanisms we rely on, as they can quickly become unhealthy coping skills that may hurt our relationships and interfere with our ability to work effectively with reality. For me, since displacement is the defense mechanism that I use the most, I need to be more mindful of what I'm feeling at the moment when I'm about to react to a situation. Sometimes I yell at my sister when I'm having a bad day, and it's not until later that I realize it's not fair that I was taking my anger out on her. So whenever you feel like you're about to project your feelings onto another person, rationalize the situation, or use any of the defense mechanisms that I talked about, then it might be helpful for you to take a moment and practice some mindfulness. Remember some mindfulness techniques that I share in another video? Notice what you're feeling at the moment, and instead of judging whatever you're feeling, accept those thoughts and learn to be okay with them. It's okay to feel angry, disappointed, or sad. It's also good to just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone, and give me a big thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Bye.